All right, everybody, the moment you've been waiting for. This is the Sunday Night Fights final match, and tonight it is going to be CaDaBu and IIUU. IIUU, a new player to the stream and to the tournament series, and looks like spectator mode's already going to give me some headaches, so we'll jump out of this and jump back in on the other side in a second. But yeah, IIUU, a new player to the stream and tournaments. He's put in some excellent and very, very exciting matches tonight, so that's been really fun. And on the other side, we have our resident champion, Cad, who hasn't been here. I don't think he was here in the last couple of tournaments, but he came down tonight and put in another fantastic showing, making it to the finals once again. And this should be really good and highly interesting. And once again, IIUU running that Paladin with my favorite combo, Spectral Knight into Coghammer. I just love it. I just can't tell you guys how much I love it, but just not enough. And waiting for the invite from Cad to see what cards are in his hand. But we do know that this is a control warrior and not a patron warrior. So regardless of how it goes down, we kind of know what we're dealing with here. And because of some of the issues with spectator mode, I don't really push it right now with these guys too much, especially once we've pretty much seen everything their hands have to offer by this point in the tournament. But once again, huge thank you to everybody who keeps coming out and playing in these, everybody who participates. I really do appreciate the support. Everybody who hangs out on the stream while we're doing it. And for all you guys out there at home, anybody who just stumbles upon these videos and watches them, I hope you find them entertaining. I hope you enjoy them. Don't be shy. You're always welcome to come down and join in with us. It's www.twitch.com/Hearthstone4Noobs. The 4 is the number 4. You can always catch up with me on my Facebook page. Stonerino1426 would be the Facebook/Stonerino1426. And yeah, you've probably already found us here on the Hearthstone for Noobs channel on YouTube. And also don't forget to check out our friends, Team Perfect Curve, who also have their own YouTube channel, and are excellent coaches and provide coaching, deck explanation, and all sorts of other interesting stuff when it comes to playing at the highest level that Hearthstone has to offer. So there you go. With all that said, let's get this finals match really, really going. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. These are some really interesting decks. Control Warrior a little bit more standard, but always really interesting to see how well it plays. This deck is just so solid. There's just very little that it falters against, and I think sometimes you might get a worse draw than others, or your opponent might just have a better draw and really get some real momentum against you. But look at this. We see a bomb lobber. When do you guys ever see a bomb lobber? I dare say we haven't seen it yet tonight, so that's a surprise for everyone. And yeah, pretty interesting. And just the boys in the stream reminding me here, just in case anybody's listening and noticed that mistake, it is Twitch TV, not Twitch.com. But I think everybody knows that. I think we pretty much all get the picture. But thank you for backing me up and making sure I keep everything straight, guys. Appreciate it. And yeah, this Argent Commander card, I mean, this is really, it's funny because there are a lot of components in here that are in my own personal Paladin deck. But the Bomb Lobber and the Argent Commander, definitely two very interesting inclusions, and I wouldn't mind seeing the rest of this deck at some point. Just seeing the list, and being able to compare, because it's very interesting. But look at the pressure that this Paladin has applied to a Control Warrior. Very, very interesting to see, especially this early on in the game. And I think we're just going to see Boom here, but it's quite possible he wants to go with another Argent Commander. I mean, I think Boom's the choice, just because it gives you so much board presence. I mean, the Warrior's going to have some answers, but at the same time, here you get to clear the Emperor, throw down a Boom, and then you just got to start chipping away again at the Warrior, who's going to have 19 health plus whatever armor he manages to get out. Alternatively, you could kind of YOLO this, throw out the other Argent Commander, and just keep going face. IIUU deliberating, decides to go with the Argent Commander in order to eliminate the Emperor, which leaves him with 2 Argent Commanders on the board, and even after the Zombie Cho health buff, removing the most of that, leaving Cad with just 15 health. And Warrior turn 7, always a chance we see just a Dr. Boom from him, but I think he needs to, he needs to armor up. That Shield Maiden definitely going to help. plus the armor up effect from the hero power, getting him back up to 22 effectively. And that's a free shield slam, going to take care of one of those guys as well, one of those Argent Commanders. So once again, the Control Warrior doing a mighty fine job controlling things, and I think I might. Oh, would you have risked it on the Spectral Knight there combo? Or I think that might just be the better play. Just control the board, get Lothab down, make sure that he can't just. I mean, he could shield slam one of your guys, but that would be his entire turn. Instead, we see the Warrior with Harrison Jones getting a couple cards as well, getting some value off dropping that card, killing the weapon, drawing 2 cards from the 2 charges left on the weapon, and at least giving a little bit of option. Yeah, so there you go. IIUU also drawing in a Blessing of Kings. This is a pretty big card. I don't know if he needs to use it now, though. That's the question. He could actually put up. Now, see, here's the thing. You know you're playing against a Control Warrior, so you really don't want to overdevelop your board. That's probably the key argument here, is not going all in against this Warrior, because at a certain point you're going to see Brawl. And even at this point, it still could be a fairly valuable Brawl. Now, obviously, there are 2 targets from the Brawl result that would be absolutely fine with IIUU. He would just hate to lose the 2 taunts. Now, having said that, Cad decides to go with Alex Straza, reducing the Paladin all the way down to 15 health, getting the Execute out as well. But this Spectral Knight with taunt would be very difficult to deal with, and Antique Healbot kind of saying, you know what? I don't care if you take my health down. I'm going to be able to keep doing this. But, yeah, plus Aldor Peacekeeper onto Alex Straza. Now I think you just have to go face. Get that armor down as low as possible. And if there was never a more tempting moment for Cad to play Brawl here, this would probably be it. If he's been holding on to it. And yes, he has. There it was at the back of his deck. He's been holding it for a minute and just waiting for a really opportune moment. This was it. And what's left? Well, there it is. The lowly Defender of Argus on his lonesome. And Cad will finish clearing that off. And with 19 health effective and a weapon loaded, he is in pretty good shape again. Now, this is pretty much where you just throw down the Boomster. Probably give it the Acolyte of Pain as well, making sure that you're going to continue to draw cards, especially off the Deathbite Death Rattle, because now Cad is definitely going to want to find a way to get rid of this Boom. So he's going to use the draw mechanic of his own Acolyte of Pain. And we see IIUU drawing into the Equality Consecrate combo, which is one of the most powerful AoE combos in the game. To people who play like faster decks, it might seem a little bit slow or a little bit situational, but at the end of the day, this costs 1 less mana than Flame Strike to play this combination, provided you have it in your hand, and it will absolutely clear your opponent's board regardless of the stats of the other creatures. Unless one of them has Divine Shield, everything's going to die. So yeah, this is a real nice bit of comfort for IIUU, and he's got a couple of nice options in his hand, but Cad continues to sort of maintain control. That's the job of the Control Warrior. I think one thing he has to focus on here, though, I think he has to make sure that the Paladin is left with no creatures on his side of the board because of things like the possibility of Blessing of Kings, Quartermaster, stuff like that. I think even though you want to wear him down more quickly now that you're taking so much damage, I think it's dangerous to leave a dude out there. And there you go. We see the Equality Consecrate play to wipe the board, and enough mana left for Blessing of Kings means that Cad's going to have a real difficult time answering this pressure. And that knocks him straight down to 4 health. I do believe we've seen both Shield Maidens as well, so this game might be in the books for IIUU. We're going to find out. Well, there's a shield block, so that says no. The answer to that right there is no. Not yet. Looks like an Execute might be in hand as well. Cool Taskmaster. Big Game Hunter. Okay, which is a nice kind of tempo swing for Cad because it means he actually gets 2 bodies on the board whilst removing the other one of the Paladin. And the Iron Beak Owl, no good at this point. At least not against this board. Pally decides to go for the big game hunter. And is he going to put Blessing onto the second dude now? I don't think he is. I think he went ahead and passed turn there. Alright, so I bet he's wishing he had a second cog hammer just to get onto this this Spectral Knight. But this is the problem with the Paladin decks. So many answers, so many ways to sort of deal with what's going on your opponent's side of the board. But when you run out of options, when you run out of cards in your hand, very difficult to come back if your opponent has got sort of a bigger board than you. The whole idea of some of these Paladin decks are that they're able to deal with so much of what your opponent throws at you, and you're basically attempting to exhaust your opponent's options. Paladin feels kind of aggro-y in some ways and kind of mid-rangey in other ways, but at the end of the day, most of the stronger Paladin decks are really based around control, because what you're doing is you're trying to control your opponent as much as possible. You're trying to mitigate the damage that you see as much as possible, force them to trade into taunts and divine shields and all the rest of it. And eventually, the goal is simply to have exhausted their options. And at this point, it's just not going to be enough. And it looks like the Paladin has absolutely run out of steam. Leaving the Warrior with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's lethal on board. And that'll do it. CaDaBu taking the first game of this final match. And giving IIUU a champion's welcome, as it were. So we're going to have to see what goes down in this next game. So there we go. That means CAD retiring the Warrior in this game, should be switching over to Handlock, I believe. I believe that's what we saw from him earlier. And IIUU probably going to stick with his Paladin. Normally Paladin players are so convinced in their decks, or at least I am, and I've noticed it from a lot of people who love Paladin, that even though they know that it falters in some ways and there are some shortcomings, they tend to want to stick with it because they just know it's rarely going to lose 2 games in a row. Having said that, we do switch back over, so it's going to be Handlock versus Mallylock, it looks like, and this should be pretty exciting. This is another one of those matches where it could be similarly paced at the beginning. Obviously, we see Mallylock has a couple of early game advantages here, like Abusive Sergeant. Abusive Sergeant's not really going to come down right away. He's definitely something that you can use just to get a small body on the board, but this isn't really the Face Hunter deck. We're going to see Zombie Chow, we're going to see Imp Gang Boss, and if he draws into Twilight Drake before CAD manages to establish a board, then he could put an awful lot of pressure onto the Handlock. Although I feel like, once again, that if Handlock doesn't take too much damage, sort of getting into the mid to late game stages, then I think it's still favored in this matchup. But I believe we're going to see Coin Imp Gang Boss. It's possible he taps it. He does just tap. And going to go ahead and smack him with a Zombie Chow and pass the turn over. Alright, so now we do see the Imp Gang Boss, and the pressure continues to be applied to CaDaBu, and tapping plus taking 2 damage per turn is really difficult, so I think he wants to have it. No, he's got the Drake. I mean, the Drake is still great. I was going to say a Giant might be better at this point, but we can't split hairs. Bottom line, the Drake does eat up everything on the board, and that's the best he can hope for right now. Now, that is an awfully low roll from the Implosion, only getting 2 and doing not enough damage to this Drake to even give IIUU a chance to kill it. So this might be the point of the game at which CaDaBu starts to stabilize. Definitely going to want to see a Sludge Belcher or some sort of taunt here. There is the mountain giant. Okay, so he's going to get rid of the imp gang boss before it can spawn any more imps. And at that point, now knowing he's got the zombie chow to sort of gain a little bit of health back, and an 8/8 on the board, going to be a little bit more difficult for IIUU to respond. Now we see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage on the board, plus plus abusive sergeant and immortal coil will actually clear the giant. But it leaves him with 3 mana, very difficult to spend efficiently here. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and just go Twilight Drake. Twilight Drake plus Mortal Coil allows him to get the Drake out and kill Cad's Twilight. But it looks like he's having a good think through on this one. So that'll get the health back up to Cad. We're going to see the imps go through this one here. And double Drake means one of them must be played. He just has 1 less health. And why is this just 1 less health a bit of a problem? Well, as you can see, that giant there does 8 damage. And that means that if for some reason Cad decides he wants to trade, which I imagine he's just going to taunt here and go face, no, Immortal Coils instead. Perhaps he hasn't got Sun Fury in hand. But now, see, Cad could just get rid of this Drake. See, right there. There you go. And even though now the Mountain Giant is injured, the Drake is gone. And had he played the Drake first, I believe that means he would have actually had 9 health onto it. Am I incorrect? I can't remember exactly how many cards are in hand. But I think he played cards before he played the Drake. And because of that, now has to dump a lot of energy and to get rid of this Giant, whereas previously, had the Drake been a 9, it would have stuck around that 1 more turn just to get the final blow back in on the Giant. And now, as you can see, also looking a little sad next to a 4/10 Twilight Drake. And there you go, Ancient Watcher, another Mountain Giant, and Sun Fury this time for sure. And that now really, really seems to have swung the game back in the favor of CaDaBu. But this is what the handlock does. If you give it any sort of time or any sort of chance to get going, just builds this board with this wall of taunts, high power minions, very difficult to answer. And as we know, the Mallylock also a very, very high powered deck with some very potent plays, but falters a little bit in the mid game against something like this board. Very difficult for it to remove all of the creatures, or at least even just like the biggest threats, at this point. So how is he going to play it? He's going to remove the Ancient Watcher and eat a little bit of damage, I think, from this Mountain Giant. And even more stabilization from the Handlock deck. Able to kill off Thorson and put a nice big hit onto the IIUU's face there. Now Boom's going to come down. But he needs to successfully Soulfire and Dark Bomb this Giant. And it's going to, what do you want to lose? Do you want to lose the Soulfire or do you want to lose Defender of Argus? I think at this point you want to keep... Oh, there you go. I was going to say, I think you probably want to keep the Soulfire simply because it's part of your win condition in most situations. Having said that, Defender of Argus not too bad and still able to keep him somewhat protected as the game goes on. Although at this point, look at CaDaBu, just throws his own Boom out. And without any answers in hand for IIUU, just really going to be difficult for him to bring this game back. Tapping so dangerous as well. Yeah, I think that pretty much does it. Defender of Argus gonna offer a little bit of shelter from the storm, but I just don't think enough at this point. Yep, silence a Boombot and destroy that one, and kill the other and hope it doesn't hit. There you go. See, that was a bit of one of those chain reaction moments where at least maybe it could have hit the other one that had 1 health. I don't know. I guess maybe they both had 1 health. What am I talking about? It's been a long night, guys. Go easy on me. And there's Ragnaros. Ragnaros plus yet another taunt. Boom will go straight through that one. The boom bot hitting face almost optimal, and Ragnaros hitting face definitely optimal. With everything that's in IIU's hand, or the lack of things in IIU's hand, he's gonna have a hard time on this one coming back. And it looks like this may be it. This may be CaDaBu taking yet another one of our Sunday night fights down. And yeah, that looks like it's going to be it. And there you go. In his triumphant return, CaDaBu taking the finals once again. And congratulations to IIUU in his first ever tournament with us tonight. I'm sure he's played plenty of Hearthstone, but an excellent showing. Very good job to both of you guys. Really enjoyed watching those matches. Thanks again, and I will see you guys next time on the Hearthstone for Noobs channel. Good night, everyone.